You think starting and running a pooper scooper business is easy, right? You just grab your rake and your bucket and your trash bag and you start scooping and make money right away. You're wrong. Don't get me wrong, there's money to be made, but there's a lot that goes into the pooper scooper business because, hey, it is a business. Many pooper scoopers make mistakes that cost them time and money. But don't worry, I'm here to share with you some of the biggest mistakes I made in my business so you won't make them. And for those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Erica Krupin. I am the owner of Krupin's Poop Scoopin', which is a dog waste removal business located here in Michigan. And I've been in business for a little over 6 years. And I have been documenting my journey on YouTube, showing the good, the bad, and the ugly. So in this video, I want to break down some of the biggest mistakes that are top of mind that really have been pain points for me in my business. I have control issues and I try to do everything by myself because I knew if I did it by myself, I would do it the right way. And that is all fun and games until you get too much work or you have a lot going on. You have a family, you need to go to sleep, there's issues, you hurt yourself. Trying to do everything alone is not only exhausting, but it's incredibly lonely. And I went through a long period of time where I felt incredibly lonely in my business. And I was trying to figure out like how to delegate, how to train people. And I would bring people into the business and I would hire, which I've done that time and time again. That's really not the problem. But once I get over like 3 staff members, my brain starts to like glitch and then I shut down. Or when there's an issue that arises, instead of being like, all right, let's work through this. Let's figure out how to resolve it. Let me explain how it needs to be done. I always resort back to, I'll do it myself because I didn't know how to explain, like take all of the information out of my brain and put it onto like standard operating procedures or record an audio note or a video or something just to get it out of my brain to train somebody else. And that creates an environment where yes, you're in charge. Yes, you control everything. You have a pulse on everything, but it's lonely. You can only produce as much as you can produce. And at a certain point, things will start crumbling. And I don't advise you to do everything on your own because you can't go far. And this is something I really learned from William and Levi. Seeing them work together and how they're able to like divide and conquer was really inspiring to me and really made me realize like, Erica, you have skill sets that you're really, really strong in, but you suck. You really do suck in these other areas. And you need to find somebody that is amazing in those areas to be able to balance you out. It's kind of like being in a marriage. Opposites attract, right? And so you're good at something, the other person is good at the other, and you come together and things are able to move forward in a direction, hopefully, that in business is super lucrative. But I'm telling you, trying to do everything yourself will lead you to burnout. I have been burned out more times than I want to admit. And I'm sure I've documented that on the Scoop podcast or on the YouTube channel where I'm like a whiny baby and I want to give up my business. I don't feel like doing it anymore. I just want to take a nap. But that's what happens when you get burnt out because you're all like gung-ho in the beginning and you're eager and you have all this energy. And then that stuff starts to fizzle. Reality starts to set in. And that's when you need to have other people around you to help you push through and to get stuff done. My suggestion to you is once you start your business, figure out a good flow, see how it's running successfully. And as soon as you can, start documenting your policies and procedures, like how you do things. If it's a video, an audio note, written, depending on how your brain works. So then you're able to start bringing people in, hopefully bring somebody in to scoop. So then you can get out of the field and start working on other aspects of the business. Now, having said that, if you get into the office and you're like, whoa, I am not really cut out for this. I don't understand how to do this stuff. At that point, you're going to need to get more customers. You're going to have to start generating more income. So then you can hire the office admin tasks out and you rinse and repeat until your business grows. And I know this sounds really scary. It's like, how can I afford this? We'll talk about that later on when it comes to pricing. My next mistake is listening to the wrong people. When you become a business owner, like me, I worked at like a 9-to-5 job, right? Corporate America. That's who I was surrounded with. I didn't know any successful business owners either. The only business people I knew were ones that were miserable, that were just barely getting by. So I didn't have good people in my corner. I did have people that were running crappy businesses that were like, hey, listen, don't do this because this sucked. Or you get the advice from the people that have never run a business and they're trying to tell you what to do. And then you're like going back and forth and you still have like the 9-to-5 mindset, which is like very much listen to what your boss says. But when you have your own business, you are the boss. So you're like trying to figure out, am I confident enough in my decision-making skill? Is this the right decision? I'm not really too sure. And so that's a whole like mindset change that you really have to work on. But don't take advice from people that aren't further than you in business and not running successful businesses. Please, like vet them out. Figure out like, do you want your business to look like theirs? If not, don't listen to them. It's like trying to take advice, like marriage advice, from somebody that's been divorced like 4 or 5 times, and they're trying to tell you how to have a successful, long marriage. What? Are you kidding me? Your marriages don't even last long enough for the ink to dry on the paperwork, okay? I'm not taking advice from you. So think about that when somebody's trying to give you some advice that they really don't know what they're talking about, and you're like listening to them like, okay. And this is why it's important to start getting yourself around like-minded people. And the issue is when you are in your like circle, those people aren't there unless you have entrepreneurs around you. So you're going to have to get out of that circle. You're going to have to start networking with other people in like locally or online. And that's really what I had to do, because even like the local entrepreneurs, I had a hard time connecting with them. I don't know if it was a me issue or a them issue or a we issue. I don't know. I just had a hard time with it. But I was able to, well, I did kind of grow like a pooper scooper community online with my social medias. So that has really helped me. Like as much as I've been helping you guys have been helping me through a lot more than you realize. So getting into the forums, hanging out on the YouTube channels, or joining Poop Scoop Millionaire community over on School. Right now, there's over 600 like-minded pooper scoopers in this community. We're sharing stories, we're sharing our wins, our losses, tips and tricks, all the cool things. And in May, at the end of May, May 23rd and 24th in Boise, Idaho, we are hosting ScoopCon. It's a pooper scooper convention, and I'm so excited to meet you if you are going to attend. Please, I would love for you to attend. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to include a link down in the description of this video. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me or William or Levi or Jim or Justin or Amanda and Mike. Ask us some questions. We would love to inform you. And all of us are actually hanging out in the Poop Scoop Millionaire community over on School. It's like where the cool kids are hanging out. And I like hanging out with the cool kids because I wasn't cool in high school. And I still don't think I'm cool now, but some people think that I'm cool, so I'll just roll with it. But anyways, we're all hanging out, we're all swapping stories, and we're sharing stories, and we understand what the Poop Scoop community and the industry is like. So we're able to just kind of uplift each other. So we would love to see you at ScoopCon. Go ahead and purchase your tickets from the link below. Let's talk about setting boundaries. You got to have some boundaries, some guidelines, whatever you want to call them, in your business. This applies to what's going to happen with your scoop days if it rains, if it snows, if it's bad weather, right? We have guidelines. Are you going to go out? If you're not going to go out, what's the threshold? How are you going to do your billing? Are you going to do it weekly? Or are you going to do it monthly? What if the person doesn't pay their bill? When are you going to pause their service? After 1 week, after 3 days, after a month? How are you going to set that up? What about service days? What if you are in that area on a Tuesday, but they want you to scoop on a Friday? Are you going to scoop them on a Friday to appease the customer? Or are you going to set that boundary so you're not driving all over the place? Are you going to let the dog wag the tail or the tail wag the dog? Think about that. Are you going to charge for extra dogs? Are you going to charge for that grand dog that only visits every once in a while, but every single week that you go to scoop, you see the grand dog that you're not charging for because the dog doesn't actually live there? Yes, we're going to charge for that dog because that dog lives there. They lying. And it's tough. It's tough to set boundaries. It's tough to set guidelines. Write them down and stick to them. If there's issues and you feel like you need to adjust them. Do an edit, but have them written down for you and for your customers so you guys are both on the same page. Because remember, this is your business. Run it how you want to. Inconsistent marketing is a huge issue. Okay, you're marketing, you're doing everything that you need to do to get customers, then you get busy and you stop marketing. I've done it, been there, done that. That's a huge issue because what ends up happening is then customers fall off, things get slow, people cancel, and then you're like, oh no, I need to start marketing again. And because you have stopped, now you're having to do like double or triple, I don't know what the math is, double or triple to get back to where you were. If you would have just kept consistently posting 1, 2, maybe 3 times a week, you would still be in that habit of posting, and then it wouldn't be such an issue for you. You would already have people lined up to replace the customers that fall off. In this way, you're consistently showing up in front of your customers and you're not invisible. Like those people might not need you right now, but you posting in like November and December, they're seeing your post. And then when the springtime hits and the snow melts, if you have snow, they're like, oh yeah, I seen that pooper scooper. They post the behind the scenes content, day in the life content, before and after content, crazy customer calls or email content, like whatever it is, they're going to remember you and hopefully call you because you've built rapport with them over time. And last but not least is charging too little. This is honestly probably the most important one when it all comes down to it, because if you're not charging enough and you're not making any money, you can't hire people to fill in the gaps of where you suck. You can't market your business. You can't invest in conferences like ScoopCon and hang out with people and get the flight and the hotel and do all of that stuff. There's a lot that goes into your pricing. And I think a lot of new business owners and new scoopers, they were working a 9-to-5 job, say they were making $15 an hour or $17 an hour. So they think if I can at least make $20 an hour with my business, like I'm great, I'm golden. I've replaced my income. But you need to price as a company. You have to price the payroll that goes into it and all the overhead, the vehicles, the gas, the insurance, the maintenance, the marketing, the systems. There's a lot that goes into this. And so if you're just saying, I want to make $20 an hour with my business, you're not going to be able to hire. You're not going to be able to. What are you going to pay them? $5 an hour? Who's going to work for $5 an hour? And I want to say that I hate that I'm going to say this, but I'm not. If you're charging $10 a scoop or service, you're running a charity. You're not running a business. You're running a charity. And I truly do feel like you are devaluing the pooper scooper industry in 2025. And I know numbers isn't for everybody. A lot of business owners or people get into business as entrepreneurs, maybe numbers ain't their thing. The trade is, like, if you're a tree guy, you know how to cut down trees. If you're a landscaper, you know how to do lawns. So you're not really into numbers. Think about all of this. Think about how much you spend on gas. Think about equipment payments. Think about maintenance, the vehicle, 30% for taxes, a marketing budget, insurance, uniforms. Think about all of this. You can even do a quick search online that says, what expenses should I factor into my overhead for my business? Do some research, look all of that up and write that stuff down. And you want to consider your pay, like how much you need to pay yourself at a bare minimum. And then also factor in like ideally what you want to make and just play around with those numbers. And if you're really not a number person, you might have to go get a bookkeeper and an accountant. And guess what? That costs money. So you need to make sure that you're charging enough. Do some research in your area. Figure out what your competitors are charging on the low end and then the high end. And then really investigate. Like look at those people, those companies that are charging $10, $8, $12. Why? Why are they charging so low? How are they able to charge so low? Now, I will say there are some companies that are so big, they're so big and they have such high volume and the yards are so small. So they are able to maybe charge a lower amount because they're doing such high volume. And so that's how they're able to make money. But then they might actually have another business that is making up what they're losing in their pooper scooper business. So there's a lot of different factors that come into play with pricing and how the businesses are able to operate and to run. So I do recommend charging enough to be a real business, not just side money if you want this to be a real business, and take into consideration where these other companies are and where you want to stand in the market and what you want your business to look like. As a quick recap, we're not going to do everything by ourselves. We're going to try to outsource and we're going to bring people in so we can go further in business. We're not going to listen to the wrong people. We're going to put ourselves in situations where we do get around the right people that are giving us good advice. And we're going to make sure that we're listening to that advice and we're filtering it through our own brain cells so we can execute. We're going to set some boundaries in business. We're not going to let the tail wag the dog. We're going to keep consistently marketing our business. Even on the days when we don't feel like it, we're still going to do that because we want our customers to be able to find us when they want us. And even when they don't want us, they might need us in the future. So we need to make sure that we are staying top of mind. And we're not going to keep charging too little. We're not going to charge like we're a charity. That's crazy. Like this is a hobby. We're going to charge like we are running a business. And if you liked this video and you want more of things I wish I knew, go ahead and click the video up here somewhere of the things I wish I knew before starting my pooper scooper business.